Hello, thank you for tuning in to the Window Project video. My name is Phil Pritzker. I'm the General Manager of 400 Condominium Association, and I'm glad you've tuned in to see the video of our town hall presentations from all of our vendors involved in the Window Project. This video, you're going to have a chance to hear from the unit preparation and restoration firm Tomas Partners, from Auburn Corporation, who's the actual window installation company, and from our engineer and design firm, Wisjani Elsner. As you review the video, you're going to find most of the information that has already been available on our website. We felt that this would be a easier way for you to view the information, and additional information, of course, is available on our 400er.com website. You'll have questions and answers that have been frequently asked already that have been prepared. And we hope that this will provide you the information and, more importantly, the comfort of knowing that during this 22-month project that your individual unit is going to be taken care of with the utmost care and concern. Hope you'll enjoy the information that you'll be watching at this point. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brian Pulver. I'm a senior associate with Wisjani Elsner Associates. We were hired by the Condominium Association to perform an investigation of the windows at 400 East Randolph. So the first stage of the investigation was to go through and document the condition of the windows, document the conditions within the units that could impact the window replacement. Once that was done, we developed approximate costs and some schematic designs for the replacement of these windows. This information was then presented to the board, and the next step of the project was to go ahead and do the design of the new windows. So one of the reasons why these windows needed to be replaced was they're 50 years old, they're at their end of their useful life, they're single pane glass, non-thermally broke aluminum frames, and this type of window allows heat and cold to transmit through the windows. In the wintertime, that can result in condensation on the inside. Additionally, the noise transfers through these windows at a much greater rate or higher volume than new windows. So it was time to replace these windows. So the design that was developed was new state-of-the-art windows, thermally broken frames, double-paned insulating glass units with low E coating. All of these new technologies significantly reduces noise transmission. In the wintertime, keeps the heat in the summertime, keeps the heat out. These are improvements that help the cost efficiencies of running the actual HVAC systems. So with this new window system, you get improved energy efficiencies, you get improved operation and reduced noise. Additionally, all of the windows were designed to meet the Chicago Building Code and the Energy Code. The new design also incorporated wrapping the stone sills in aluminum as well. This is going to improve aesthetics and also improve the long-term durability of these windows. With the new windows, it also reduces the number of breakage that you would have annually. In the past, some of these costs approached $100,000 each year to replace the glass that was breaking. And finally, it just added a nice new aesthetic to both the interior and exterior of the building. There were a couple different configurations that we looked at in terms of how to, we looked at a new design for the windows and also looked at the existing configuration. Through the town hall meetings, it seemed the overwhelming opinion was to leave the windows in the same configuration to not impact the building or change the look of the building. There was a slight increase in the width of the frames. With the new thermal efficiencies of these frames, they did have to be a little bit thicker and a little bit wider. Our role in the project at this point, now that the design is completed and has been approved and construction and shop drawings were underway, every day, once the windows have been installed, we go through the units and do a punch list to check that they operate, make sure that the windows were installed within tolerances of the construction project, and note any of the items that need to be addressed. This list is then handed off to Auburn to make sure that they're addressed on an ongoing basis. Additionally, with each drop, there will be quality control testing in both air infiltration and moisture infiltration. It consists of placing a wood and visqueen frame on the inside of the window, creating a vacuum on the backside, and measuring how much air can penetrate through the windows. Then this is repeated with having a spray rack on the exterior of the glass to make sure that these windows meet the performance requirements of the manufacturer and also the design. The warranty for these windows is 2 years for the actual operating parts, the internal mechanisms, the springs and the weights. There's 10-year warranty on the insulating glass units themselves, and then there's 20-year warranty on the actual finish of the windows. A warranty period basically means that anything that happens during that time, depending on what the actual malfunction is or potential malfunction, they would be replaced at no cost to the unit owner or the condominium. This will provide the unit owners and the condominium with improved energy efficiencies, better aesthetics, and better operability and reduced noise transmission through these windows. I thank you for your time. If there's any questions that you have regarding the engineering aspects of this project, please feel free to submit them through the Q&A site or project or building management. Thank you.
When they said they were putting in new windows, there were some trepidations, obviously. There was expectations for a mess to be cleaned up, having to move all my furniture and possessions, and oh my God, the electronics that I have, having to take it all apart and put it all back together again. And then the potential for damage, of course, is there. And of course, you don't know what it's going to look like when it's done, or how it's going to function or fit, or whether it's going to do what it's supposed to do. And it was a very pleasant surprise.
Hi everybody, my name is Thomas Orban. I'm the owner of Thomas Partners LLC. Our company is hired by the building to help the window project. Actually, we are involved in two parts of the project, one of them being the coordination of the project and the other one being the unit preparation. The first part, the project coordination, is done by this gentleman to my left, whose name is Steven, and I will have him say a few words.
Hi, my name is Steven Seke. I'm representing Thomas Partners as a window project coordinator. I'm here in the building full-time, so if you have any questions or concerns, you can contact me. My contact information is posted in the lobby next to the schedule. Please feel free to contact me with any questions or concerns you have.
So the project coordination part of this project involves the project coordinator to be the intermediary person between all the parties involved in the installation process. We have the architectural firm involved, we have the Auburn Corporation, the installer company, we have the building management company, we have Thomas Partners LLC, and all the residents. So basically, the project coordinator, Steve, is the person who everybody goes to with any type of question, and then he kind of directs everybody to get answers from different questions. But the most important thing is the residents, please contact Steve with any questions. Don't call the management office, don't call anybody else, because all the questions regarding to this project is going to be sent to him. Also, he's in charge of updating the schedule as is needed. Also, he's the one who's going to give you all the notices. He's going to give you phone calls ahead of time, and just making sure that everybody is aware of what exactly the project involves and what is required from each and everybody. So the second part of the project that our company is involved is the actual unit preparation and unit restoration. It's actually a 3-day process. I will try to go day by day and explain what's happening each day, just to give you an idea what everybody can expect. So the first day is the day what we call the preparation day. Second day would be the window installation day, and the third day would be the unit restoration day. So the first day, the unit preparation day, our team will go into your apartments. We'll take some pictures of everything that you have. Basically, these pictures are helping us to be able to put your furniture, your items back where they were before, in case nobody's home when we are doing our work. So what we're gonna do is, the first day is we're gonna move all your furniture 6 feet away from the windows, and also creating a 3-foot wide path between the furniture from the entry door to the window area, so the installer company can go in and out from the apartment. Also, we will remove your window treatments, and we will place them somewhere in the apartment. After all this is done, we would cover your furniture. We would cover it with reusable canvas tarps and plastic. If unit owners or residents decide to stay in their unit on the night of the unit preparation, they can do that. We would allow you access to your kitchen, to your bathroom, and the bedroom. We do have to remove all the window treatments the day before, so no exceptions. But we're gonna try to make it as comfortable as possible, but please keep in mind this is a construction project, so we really need your cooperation. So this would be the first day. The second day, the actual window installation day, at 7 a.m. in the morning, we would need access to everybody's apartment. At 7 a.m., our team would go in and cover whatever items were left over, like the kitchen, bathroom, the bedroom, so the installer company can start their work. The installer company comes around 7:30, and they're gonna start their protection, also the floor protection and all that. The installer company is gonna be working from 7:30 till about 4:30, 5 o'clock every day. After they are done with their work, at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, our team would go back and uncover your furniture in the bedroom and also uncover your kitchen and bathroom. So if you do decide to spend the night, you have access to the kitchen, bathroom, and also to the bedroom. And the third day would be the unit restoration day. In the morning at 8 o'clock, our team will be there to basically remove all the coverings from your furniture, from all the items that were covered. We would reinstall your blinds. The only difference in the installation of the blinds, all the window treatments have to be installed from the ceiling. You cannot drill anything in the new window system, and this is really important. So you might see a little bit of difference how your blinds were before and how they are now, and that's all because everything has to be mounted in the ceiling. We would also put your furniture back based on the pictures we take, everything back in the same place, and try to make it as comfortable as possible. Again, please, if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to contact Steve. He can answer you with any type of question related to the project. He can stop by to your apartment, take a look what exactly you're talking about, and try to make this as easy as possible for everybody. Thank you.
Well, it was actually pretty straightforward. They came in, they had done a pre-survey, so we had a clue of how things were going to go, where things were going to be stored, how we were going to prepare the furniture, what needed to be moved in advance. And me being the person I am, and particularly with all my electronic stuff, I took care of a lot of that in advance, so to simplify it for everybody. And so it ended up basically grouping the furnitures into areas that could be bundled, covered, protected in a efficient and simple fashion. And then they also used these huge rolls of plastic, which was rather interesting to watch, which they used to seal the kitchen area and other open areas that should not have been affected. Finally, they sealed every single closet and door frame to ensure that there would be no dust or grit blowing into places where they shouldn't be, which would save me a lot of cleaning later, particularly if you're thinking about linens and such and clothes. And that went very, very well. They left me access to the things I needed to have access to overnight until they do the work the next day, until they're ready to do that. And then we talked about the plan for the next morning, once that was done. They, obviously the windowsills had to be cleared, and that was done. The large tarps were used to cover everything. They also explained that when they came in to actually do the work and they were bringing in their equipment and carts, that they would be putting flooring over my very nice wooden floor to protect it. So that went very well the day before. And then of course there was the day of, which was also interesting. Oh, the day before they also took down all the blinds and everything, stored them very neatly where I told them to, so they would be accessible and that all the parts would be where they needed to be so they could find them when it was time to put them back up. So the day of, they come in, it's about 7 o'clock in the morning this time, and they immediately finish sealing up the things that needed to be, that we didn't seal the day before. They put tarps over the things that hadn't been tarped. And then and I was there for the whole time to make sure that things were done the way I needed to have them done, and they were good with that. That took about 50 minutes to get done, and then about 10 minutes to 8, there's another knock on the door, and there's this guy with these panels of flooring, and he's already starting to lay them down. And by that time, everything was sealed up, so it's just a matter of leaving. And I was out from about 10 till 8 in the morning, came back about 3:45, and it was all done and clean. The only thing left was a pile of tarps sitting in a corner, very neatly folded. And of course, my window dressings could not be put up until the sealant had set on the windows. So that was it. It was over a weekend, unfortunately, so I had a nice bright view for 2 or 3 days. But they came in shortly after 8 o'clock on Monday morning, and then they basically put up the window dressings, making a few changes that I had requested. They were very good about that, and taking the tarps away. That took about another 40 minutes. There was one minor issue with one window. It was not quite functioning properly. They actually checked them while I was there, and they took pictures of everything, which is very nice and proved very useful as it turned out. And we then called the guy in who was going to repair the window. 15 minutes later, he was there. He literally took the window apart while I was watching him. Literally took it apart, found the piece that was broken, fixed it, and then put the window back together and tested all in about 15 minutes, which means that very unexpectedly, these windows are going to be very easy to maintain and replace, which is very nice compared to the old set, which was impossible. So major improvements there.
Hi, my name is Dave Arcan with Auburn Corporation. I'll be the project manager of the window replacement project. A little bit about Auburn Corporation. We've been in business for 101 years, celebrated our 100th year anniversary last year. It's a 4th generation family-owned business that started in the south side of Chicago back in 1914. When we first started this project, we had to determine how we were going to sequence ourselves around the building. So we determined and developed a drop schedule, which is posted downstairs by the sample replacement window. We took into consideration where we would be at different parts of the year and which would work best for us with weather conditions. We started on the northeast corner of the building and working our way clockwise around the building. Some stages were on both sides of the building, as right now with the second drop we were on the south side and the north side at the same time. We're getting anywhere from 2 to 3 trucks a month of windows of product, which we have to have somewhere to put all that material and work out of, which we've built a little barn back in the parking lot area where we hold all of our windows and do the majority of our cutting and fabbing of product before we install them. Our day basically consists of about 7:30 we start bringing product from the container up into our swing stages, which this job is done both inside and outside install. We bring all the product up outside the building so that there's less disruption for the residents, but we also are required to be inside to do the work as well. So that whole process starts about 7:30 where we start to get the particular windows in the product for each day up onto the protection and up onto the swing stages so that we can bring that material up from outside. Also at 7:30 we have our guys come in and do their prep work. Thomas Partners already has prepped your rooms and your units, but we do some additional work too. We prep out the areas that we're going to be walking. We either cover in masonite or plastic depending on what type of flooring you have. We protect the heating ventilators. With the beginning of this project, we determined it's best to start on the lower floors and work our way up to help save time of running up and down till we get things all figured out and a sequence in place. So the beginning of the project, we started on the 8th floor and work our way up to the 15th floor, at which that point we jump up to the top floor and work our way down. We did that on the first drop, and then we're also doing it on the second drop because that brought the introduction of doors, which is a whole different process and assembly sequence. So after the second drop for the remainder of the project, we'll be working our way with our installation from the top down. So after we get into your unit and we've done our prep work, we start to do the demolition or the removal of the old windows, which is a noisy process. It entails sawzall work, some drilling. We actually have to cut the old windows out in pieces to get them out without damaging the plaster or any of the surrounding perimeter. We take the old windows out, we load them onto our swing stage, and then we take the new products and load them into the unit. To start the preparation, we get the opening cleaned and prepared. We put the system is a receptor and subsill, which is like a subframe to the windows. We have to put the subframe in first, level and plumb. Once we get that all installed, then we start to load our windows. Everything is loaded actually from the outside and finished from the outside, but there is some trim work on the inside and some interior sealant that's applied to finish everything off. We start at 8 o'clock and our typical day runs till 3:30 or 4 o'clock. That's barring we don't have any problems or weather delays. Weather's been a tricky part of this whole project because weather in the city here is always unpredictable and ever-changing. But we've been fortunate to this point. We've only lost, I think, 4 days to date, and that's going a little over 2 months of our installation. So depending on where the weather's coming from and how bad it is, we need to make a decision first thing in the morning. I look at the radar, my guys look at the radar, and we make a decision whether it's worth trying to go for it or not. There'll probably be some parts of the building that we'll have a little bit more of a challenge because of how directly, open to the areas, like in the south elevation or the west elevations. I think it's going to be a little bit more critical because that's where the weather typically comes from. We started in the northeast corner there, which is kind of protected, so we've been very fortunate. Besides rain or snow, because we'll be working year-round, there's also the possibility of winds, and it does get very windy around here. OSHA doesn't allow us to be on the swing stages with any winds over 20 miles an hour, so that's a critical point for us. But again, depending on where we are at on the building, sometimes one side of the building has high winds and the other side of the building doesn't have very much wind, so depending on where we're working, that may or may not affect us. With our drop schedule, as you notice, it's downstairs. Sometimes we're doing a couple units, sometimes we're doing 4 units. It all depends on where you're at on the building and the sequencing of how the work is being done. We started with 4 units on the first drop, and now we've gone to 3 units on the second drop. That'll always be changing again depending on what we're able to do in a day based on the quantity and amount of work to do each day. Again, I'd like to thank you for your time and look forward to the project completion. Bear with us for these next 22 months. Hopefully you'll be satisfied with the work that's been done. Thank you.
I've noticed some tremendous differences. First of all, there's no longer any wind leakage, okay? Before, when we had cold weather, my bedroom was like a deep freeze, okay? Very drafty. Now, very, very, how should I say, contained. There is no longer any leakage whatsoever. The sound deadening is amazing, particularly when the concerts are going, the rock concerts, you just close the window, forget about it, which is nice. Also, the thermal tint is also very nice. It keeps out a lot more of the external heat that used to come in. I think I turned my air conditioning on for the first time today for about half an hour. Mostly it's just keeping the windows open, which is very nice. And it's nice that we now have screens on every window again, and that the windows will stay up. So major, major bonuses. And the best part of it was that the workmanship was almost flawless. I mentioned the one defect in the one window. They came in, they took pictures, they examined it. The architects came in, they looked at everything. There was an external viewing done with the architects, looking for any possible flaw they could find, and they addressed everything. So actually, very good job done, very good job. The workmen were very courteous, they were quiet, they did their best to minimize the disruption that they caused. You couldn't ask for anything better, really.
Our window experience was great. We went overseas on January 9th, and then we kept seeing, you know, that our windows were going to be done near middle to end of May. And we panicked because we weren't coming back till June 16th. We couldn't go to any meetings. We could have emailed or talked to someone in the management office, but we didn't want to bother them, so we thought, oh, well, just let's see what happens kind of attitude. But we were a little panicked. And someone did call us a few days before they were going to replace the windows. And we talked to that person because we called that person back because we had like wood beams covering the window frames because the person who owned the unit before us thought they were quite ugly, so they covered them up. So that was really that was the biggest thing we were worried about. And the guy assured us they'll take them out, no problems, no damage. And they would just throw away the beams if we didn't want them. And so we arrived June 16th, and we were dreading coming back to the apartment. Like, oh God, it's going to be a disaster. So we stayed that night at my mother's house, thinking, oh, after a good night's sleep, it'll be easier to tolerate walking back to our condo. And when we first walked in, I looked around, I thought, they did do the windows. I mean, it said May 29th, I thought. But the apartment looks the same as when we left it. I'm like, oh my God, did we miss an update? Or we didn't know what to think. And then we went over to the curtains and opened them, and there were the new windows. So for us, it was kind of like magic. You know, we left in January and we showed up on June 16th, and we had these beautiful windows, and nothing was out of place, nothing was dirty, and we were very happy. And we do notice a huge difference with the sound, and we don't feel the drafts of wind coming in anymore, and we don't have the ugly window frames, so we don't have those beams anymore, so the view's better, and it's just all around much nicer. So for us, it was magical.